Now let's take a look at how we would turn on and off some high voltage or high current devices. And in this example, I'm going to be showing you this relay here. And this happens to be a shield for a feather. So it's a little bit different than my Arduino Uno. This is an Arduino compatible board, and it has built-in Wi-Fi and a few other nice features. And this is a relay board that sits on top of it, just like a standard shield. So why am I using this shield? Well, the reason is I had one. There's many different varieties of relays out there. You can buy them just from a Mouser or DigiKey and prototype them on a breadboard. You can buy shields for Arduino Uno, the Mega. There's tons of them out there. I just happen to have this one, so I'm going to show you how it works. And what you need to understand about relays is you can switch high voltage on and off. Now, if you're going to be using mains voltage, like out of an outlet on your wall, I still suggest you use something like this, the digitalWrite relay controller for outlets. It's just so much safer. But if you're going to control something that's a lower voltage, this is a really good solution. Now on this particular board, we have 3 connections here, and we also have underneath a couple of solder pads here. And I just want to point out that I've soldered this one pad right here together. And that allows the feather relay shield to use digital pin 12 to toggle it on or off. Now speaking of the relay, if you look at the bottom of this, you can see No, COM, and NC. NO, normally open, common, COM, and normally closed. So the common is what one wire will go into. And then if you want it normally open, meaning that it's an open circuit, nothing happens, you put your other wire here. If you want it normally closed, you can put it here. If you want to do something that flip-flops back and forth, you could use both. So your common wire goes in the middle, and your normally open or normally closed. Whether you want the circuit to be closed or open to begin with is how you would wire this up. I'm going to wire mine up to normally open and common. Now this doesn't mean I can just put, say, an LED in here, because there's really no positive and negative. What you would have to do is have an LED negative to ground and the positive to the center, and then another wire from the normally open to a resistor to the pin you're actuating. So this is just one wire that you would basically be splicing into and putting a relay, which is just like a light switch on your wall. So let's go ahead and hook this up. So this one sits right on top here, and I can put it into a breadboard. Now with this particular board, I don't use the standard USB, I use a micro USB. So I'll get that out, and I will plug it in over here. And then instead of switching mains power on and off, I'm going to actually move this over a little bit so I can get access to that USB port a little easier. There we go. So like I was about to say, instead of putting on a lamp or a motor with this, I'm going to use my multimeter. And on my multimeter, you can see I have a continuity tester right here. And if I hit select, you basically have this little speaker looking symbol. And if I connect it, it beeps. So I think this is a great way of showing how we can activate this relay. So it doesn't matter positive or negative right now how we're connecting this. What I'm going to do is just put this terminal into the middle. That's the common. And then if you remember, underneath here, I can look. I actually don't remember. Normally open is the one on the left. Let me do that one on the left. Right here. And I could have easily have tested that as well. So this should turn on. There, it's making a connection. It's making an electrical connection. I didn't need to look at the bottom. I should have just tested it. So there's no connection between these two probes here. When there is, you'll hear a beep. So how do we fire this relay? Like I said, there was that jumper on the back. I made it to pin 12. And if I open up my Arduino IDE, I can go to Tools, make sure it's the proper board. I'm using the Adafruit Huzzah for this one. And the port is okay. And I can go to Examples, Basic, Blink. And like I said before, I connected that trace underneath to allow me to connect that relay with pin 12. So instead of LED built-in, I can just change that to pin 12 and pin 12. and also up in the setup, which means pin mode 12 is an output pin. And if I were to upload this, hopefully every second this should turn on, then off, and on and off, just like the blink sketch. So let's upload it and see what happens. Now you will notice on my screen when I upload this one, it's going to take a little bit longer to compile, and you're going to see a whole bunch of writing on the bottom. Don't worry about that. That's just how the Huzzah uploads. Even though it's red, doesn't mean anything. It's just uploading. 36% done. Next one's about 75% done, then 100. Again, just because it's in red doesn't mean anything. 72%. There it goes. About every second, pin 12 is going high, then low. And I'm testing for continuity here. And you can actually hear it sometimes bounce twice or beep twice. That's just a little inconsistency with the connection. Now, if I were to take off the normally open one, I can put it to normally close. It's still going to do the same thing. But it's going to be when this pin goes high, it's normally open now. So it's actually off when it goes high. And if I disconnect the whole thing because the beeping is making me crazy, you also have a nice little indicator light here. And you can hear the mechanical switch inside going back and forth. And that's how easy it is to integrate a relay into your next project. But like I said, if you're going to be using mains power, you're probably better off going with something like this, or at least getting a qualified electrical engineer to help you design and build your circuit safely.